Welcome to Learn to Ride. Basic bike maintenance is essential for keeping you safe out on the roads. So today we're going to go over some basic maintenance tips for you. First of all, what you can do to help is remember a key phrase. So the bike has lots of bolts on it and you see them. So remember the phrase C bolts, the letter C followed by the word bolts. Each one of those letters gives you a little clue of what to look at on the bike. So C would be your chain. Basic maintenance tip, we don't have to be mechanics, we just need to understand what to do. So make sure your chain is lubricated, make sure it has a reasonable amount of play. Your bike itself or the bike manual will give you the information of where to find out how much movement in that chain. Chains don't need links removing or anything like that when need tightening. You actually have to have the facility to pick the bike up and move the rear wheel back. If you don't understand how to do it, send it to your local dealership. B will stand for your brakes. Keep it really simple, guys. You're just going to make sure that they're working. So when you're moving it around, rolling it out your shed, your garage, wherever you may store that bike, just give both brakes a squeeze, make sure they're grabbing, make sure they're working, okay? A little bit more in-depth check would be check your brake pads, check your brake discs for wear, any signs of damage, and by keeping on top of it, you can preempt it to either send it into the dealership or change them yourselves if you have the facility to do so. A lot more modern bikes will have what we call hydraulic brakes, so a fluid pot at the front, fluid pot at the rear. So like anything with fluids, check for any leaks. If you're not sure where the leaks could be, follow from where the brake is. So look at the brake disc, the brake caliper, follow the pipe work up and it will always lead to a point. So that's where you know where to check for your leaks, anything like that. If you have a model with say a drum brake, okay, so therefore no disc at the back and therefore operated by a cable, just check the back brake for any play, anything like that, okay? And again, you can just tighten that up. O will stand for oil on the bike. Big tip first of all, make sure that bike's stood upright. Like any fluid, okay, it needs to be on a level surface to get a true reading. The way to then check the oil on the bike, first of all, make sure it's not piping hot. Cold engine, absolutely fine. A warm engine, but let the oil settle back down are the best two options. Where you fill the oil up, refer to your manual because it's different in different bikes. There may be a dipstick located, okay? So you'll pull out, wipe clean, feed back in, pull back out, check the minimum and maximum markers within that item. Some other bikes may actually have a see-through clear glass window, again with a minimum maximum marker. So just make sure you check for both options on your bike. When topping up the oil or replacing oil yourself, check the manual. A lot of modern bikes nowadays will only recommend one type of oil, and there's a reason for that. It's the best for the engine. Others may offer a variety of oils. Again, don't need to know everything yourself, just check the manual, phone the dealership, get the information from wherever you can. When topping oil up, don't just put loads in. It's a bit tedious, a little bit, let it settle, check it. A little bit, let it settle, checking it. You don't want to overfill the engine because that can cause too much pressure. The next one would be L, so that's your lights. We can be a little bit lazy with this one, guys, but it's a very important check. Turn the ignition on and physically just stand here. Use your hands to check what's flashing, what isn't flashing. Now on larger bikes, you might not be able to see the rear brake light. So bit of a stretch, front brake on, cover the rear brake. Then you can stand on this side and do the same with the rear foot. And remember, you've got two brakes. Check both are operating the rear light. A light that people often forget is the rear number plate light. Okay, very important, especially at night time. Moving on to T would be your two tyres. Okay, rather important part of your motorcycle. First of all, every day you're just going to give it a little squidge test. Make sure you've still got pressure in there. Check for any damage, bulges, tears, nails, screws, anything that could affect that tyre's performance and therefore your safety. A little bit more in-depth check of the pressures would be take it to a garage if you don't have something where you can do the pressure, but a proper pressure gauge, check on the sidewall of the tyres, manufacturer's recommendations for what pressure should be running the bike, and then the squidge test over the week will help you keep that bike safe and let you know that it's still got pressure. The final thing to sort of check on your tyres would be your tread. Now, tread disperses water, so it's a very important part, and by doing that gives you grip in more dangerous conditions such as like wet weather riding. It's better to have a deeper tread groove, so therefore we have a minimum level that we're allowed to run at. That is 1 millimetre. Now, to find out what 1 millimetre is, somewhere located on the tyre will be a little mark about 1 millimetre high. So when your tyre starts to reach that markings, that means it's time for your new tyres. The final S combine two. You've got steering and suspension. Suspension again has fluid in it, enclosed in the front, and on this particular bike you have an external spring and a piston in the middle. So again, just check for leaks, any signs of damage, cracking or wearing. Just remember you have fork seals that keep the oil in and the fluid in, so any damage on the fork itself could risk tearing those and therefore letting some pressure out and affecting your suspension and your handling, so do keep an eye on it. Steering itself is a bit of a simple check. Nice turn of the bars, make sure you don't feel any knocking, anything catching or anything is loose in there. One final tip. If you've got a manual bike or an automatic that can come up onto the centre stand and lift the rear wheel up, get the engine running, leave it in neutral and then check your steering. Bikes have throttle cables. Without the engine running, you wouldn't know whether your throttle cable is pulling until you're out on the road. So it's just a nice, easy way to just check I've got nothing catching. Also just checking in around the cables every now and again, in around the steering column, make sure nothing's catching, fraying, as it could eventually lead to further problems. So you can sort of see, guys, it's a simple basic check. A lot of it is just visual, knowing where things are running down, where things are running out, okay, and that all fluid levels are topped up, and overall that things just work safely. You don't need to be a big mechanic. Anything you do or don't know can be found via the manual, via a manufacturer, and anything you don't know how to fix can just be sent to a dealership because you're ahead of schedule and on top of the maintenance of your bike. So that's a simple overview of basic bike maintenance. Hopefully that's covered everything that you need within that segment. If there are any other issues that you don't know how to deal with, drop a comment below and we can cover that for you as well.